Success. I think everyone here wants more success, and I think there's a different definition for success for everyone. For me personally, I'm never satisfied. It's always about the next deal, the next relationship, the next opportunity. Even here at Mega Success, amongst billionaires and celebrities and the world's most successful people from 60 plus countries, I'm actually thinking of the next thing I'm doing. Because that's the difference between a dreamer and a visionary. A dreamer talks. I want to be successful. I want to make money. I want to be rich. I want to. But the problem is that they're too busy talking about the things that they want rather than doing. The premise of success, the fundamental is if you take action, and the more action you say, the more yes you say, the more successful you are going to become. For example, it takes one person, one deal, and one opportunity to change your life and your business forever. Think about this. When you have a qualified audience from all over the world, right? The amount of billionaires in the room right now is mind-boggling. Sitting among you for the entire time. So how is it I can have billionaires sit here in the audience amongst you? Many of them are going to be on stage. How can they come here, but people says, I can't? Someday, one day, next time is the quickest way to go broke. Because there is no next time. In 2019, we had 31 A-list celebrities at Mega Success in California. And people saw the pictures and they said, I'll go to the next one. I'll go to the next one. Well, the next one was the pandemic. And none of them are here today. There are people that live 30 minutes from here and are like, something came up. Everybody wants to succeed, but no one wants to sacrifice for success. Short-term sacrifices for long-term benefits. And let me tell you something. There is no system to success. This bullshit about my system is going to make you successful. There is no success in a box. There isn't. Because if there was a system, then the wealthiest people in the world would use that system. So when people try to sell you a system, right, they're trying to appeal that if I follow everything they tell me to do, I'm going to get rich. And the only people who get rich is them. Is them. When people say, I'm creating this fund to help you. Thank you so much. But I'm taking my fees up front. How is that helping you? You know what it said? I want to help you. I'm not going to charge you fees. When you make money, I make money. So there's a lot of people who tell you things, but it doesn't mean that they mean it. Success is about two things: skills and willpower. Skills is probably one of the most important things. For example, if whatever you're not good at, that's why you're not earning your worth. Someone said to us, JT, I need to delegate my weaknesses. Your weaknesses are why you are not earning your worth. That is why. If you're not good at sales, that's why you're not successful. What, you think you're going to go delegate sales to somebody else? And once that person becomes very good, you don't think they're going to come and they're going to extort you for more money? You need to be the best at sales so that they know that if they leave, it's not going to hurt you. If you're not good with your numbers, that's not an excuse. You can't say about 200,000 a year, about 2 million. Knowing your numbers is about decimals and exact numbers because you can't scale your business. Scaling is the most important thing. Every single one of you has amazing potential, but you're not earning your worth, number one, because your weakness is affecting your ability to grow because you're delegating to somebody else. My biggest weakness was sales. It's now one of my greatest strengths. My biggest weakness was branding. It's now my greatest strength. My biggest was marketing. It's now my greatest strength. My biggest weakness was speaking. Happened to be pretty good at it. Not bad for a guy who used to stutter, who had a speech impediment. My whole life, people made fun of me. What's the capital of Ottawa? Ooh, 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 ooh. And everybody would go like this, ooh, ooh, and I'd say Ottawa. And then made fun of me. Say, JT, how did you get rid of your stutter? It's very easy. I used to go to the bank and make some withdrawals. Now I make deposits. Much easier to make deposits than withdrawals. Like if I have to pay the dinner, comes back every time. Right? That's why I have Paulie. You know what it was? It was a confidence thing. You know, watching that video that you saw was very emotional for me. I was debating, do I put my mother in it? Do I not put my mother in there? You know, I've told my story before. It's very hard when you grow up and you're told you're not going to become someone. And now everyone comes from all over the world to see you or the celebrities, one or the other. But everyone tells you your whole life you're not going to make it. And you still hear it every single day. Despite over 70 companies and brands. Despite doing business in 54 different countries. Despite having clients in 104 countries. People still tell me I'm going to fail. They still tell me I'm not going to make it. And I've come to realize, and maybe that's what the pandemic did for me, I literally stopped worrying what other people thought about me. Because I want people to like me. I wanted them to like me. I'm a good guy. No, it's not true. And I realized that if someone doesn't like me, they're never going to change their mind. Because they would have to admit that they were wrong about me. And most people don't want to be wrong. There's only one thing being worse than wrong. That's dead wrong. So I've come to realize that 25% of the people will like you no matter what you say. Because they're positive people, like Paulie. Paulie likes everybody until you cross him, but he likes generally, he's skeptical of no one. 25% of the people, they like you, but they're looking for a way not to like you. I don't know, I like you, but you know why? Because they got burnt before. They don't want to get hurt again, right? They don't want to get hurt again, so deep down, they want to. They really want to, but they don't want to get hurt again because I could tell you this, being betrayed sucks. Having rats in your life, like ratatouille, sucks, especially when you've never done anything wrong. It's like, here's money, right? I lend you money, no problem, okay? I'll pay you back, I promise. And then what happens? How many people lent money here before? Raise your hand if you lent money, people. And how many people said to you they're going to pay you back? Right? That's everybody. And how many people did not pay you back? Right? And then they come back to you, and you know what they say? I need more money. But this time I'm going to pay you back. So you know what happens? You're burnt. And you don't want to do it again. And even that person will probably pay you back because that feeling hurts. Somebody said, JT, why are you so tough? Well, there's 3 JTs. There's JTs on stage, which you saw my amazing Rolling Stone skills earlier today. Right? There's JT in business, and I'm a badass. And by the way, yesterday I was with Pietro, I was with Gary, and we had lunch with 2 billionaires. Take a look at the Instagram. These are the people I'm around. By the way, there's a reason. How is it all these billionaires partner with me? 3. I have meetings with all these billionaires, and broke people, right, say I'm not who I am. Now, there's a difference between broke and no money. I want to be very clear to you. Broke people have all the excuses. COVID, this, where I was born, all these excuses. The more excuses you have, the less success you're going to have. You have to live a no-excuse life to succeed. There has to be 0 excuses. Because no one cares how good your excuses is. No one. Oh, that's a great excuse. We should have like a billboard. That's a 9.5. My whole life, people say I wouldn't make it. It fuels me. Now, people with no money, they do whatever it takes. It sucks. if you're starting out, because it's very easy for me. I can pick up the phone, I can email, and I can track anybody I want in the world. The difference with me is they end up coming here. You get pictures. I wouldn't be surprised if one or the two, the people that I met, will be becoming a mega success, and one of them for sure on the founders. So that you can have that relationship. Billionaire Fred is going to be bringing all of his billionaire friends. In fact, some of them are here right now. It's the power of relationships. People with no money do whatever it takes. Broke people have excuses. If you're born broke, it's not your fault. But if you die broke, it's 100% your fault. You are responsible for everything good and bad in your life. And the minute you start with that accountability, it's the minute you start succeeding. So I look back at why I succeed. I've been trying to think about what is it about my success that in everything we do makes money. Everything. And by the way, everything is planned out in my head, and you're about to see the process or even the opening. No one knew about it. Paulie didn't know about it. Francie, nobody knew anything. And I did it 2 nights ago. Because I'm like, you know what I mean? And then just the idea is fast, right? And then the minor edits, this and that, the details. So I'm going to tell you the steps. Not the systems, the step. Step number 1, learn. Now, I know that sounds cliche, but what you learn matters. Some of you have been in business 5 years, and you pick a book like Think and Grow Rich, which I guess is a good book, right? But it's not the book you read 5 years in. There's 2 types of knowledge, vertical and horizontal. Horizontal is, what's the key to success? Surround yourself with good people. Learn. Have a coach. Have a great attitude, right? Fluffy stuff, right? Because it's meant to give you kind of like helium. See, the problem is that this whole self-help space is all fake healing. Some people wake up in the morning and they watch a 5-minute clip on YouTube, like, pain is temper, it may last for a minute, or you're like, ah, and then 2 hours later, it sucks. Right? Because all it is, it's fake. It's not real. If you have to be motivated as an entrepreneur, you shouldn't be an entrepreneur. That's the key. So learn things that are advanced. Tell you something I taught. Let's say I want to read a book. I want to learn about negotiations. First thing I take is the first book written about negotiation. Because everyone regurgitates other people's crap and then it gets watered down. It really is. Someone wrote something and then it got watered down and maybe polished. So I want to take a look. What was the source? What was the first book written about it, or article, or something about negotiation? Because success is about the fundamentals, right? We're pouring the concrete. Because if you just put a house on top, there's no foundation. The minute that you have a bad day, you may have a bad month or a bad year, then you become demotivated. I've said this before. If you have 50 good days in a year, you're going to be a millionaire. Most days are not good. Every single day there's a problem. I had 2 this morning when I woke up. Right? And maybe Francie and I this here was the hardest thing I've ever had to do in my whole life. Over 32 people canceled. Celebrities, at the last second. COVID, movie schedules got moved, so they had no choice. Too much of a risk to be here. Not everybody's vaccinated. Yes, we have negative tests, but not everybody's vaccinated. Like the amount of things that we had, the stress level. 1 week before mega success, we had 0 celebrities booked. We had them all, and then poof. And when I tell you some of the names, you'll know why. It's the hardest thing we've had to do. On top of doing deals, on top of running all our businesses, because there's an expectation. People here came all around the world, and they don't care about that stuff. It was hard. That video you saw of me and Francie, that's really how every day is. I'm not kidding you. That's exactly how it is. Well, I was watching that. I'm like, we really do that, right? Like that's every day. So what I do is I take the first book about the subject, then I take the best book written about the topic, or course, or whatever, and then I take another one that interests me. So I will literally take 3 things, 3 different courses, books, or whatever, right, in order to really master the information. Because your brains, are not conditioned just to have one thing and be like, hi, I read one book on negotiation, and all day I'm successful, right? So you have to learn, you have to go vertical, drill for the aha. Push yourself to read things that are super advanced, not this basic 1, 2, 3 stuff, right? There's not 5 steps to a negotiation. It's not like that. So step number 1 is learn, which is so important. But learn vertically, not horizontally. The second thing is retain. I'll go to people here. How many people, what's the last book you read? They name it. Great, what's the first chapter called? Right? What's the third chapter? Did you know 98% of the people I ask that question can't even tell me anything? Because your brains are like leaky buckets. You're like, you know what I mean? So you think, keep going to different seminars, you know what I mean? And you think that is, but it keeps draining out because it's not staying in here. It's not staying in there. You have to retain it, which means this. How is your learning? How focused you are in your learning? What do I mean by focused learning is this. If you are listening, let's say to one of our courses on Million Flicks, right, while you're running, right? I mean, it's entertaining, but you're not going to retain anything. When you're driving in the car, my car is a university. Okay. What happens when there's a turn, someone cuts you off? Because think about this, right? Let's say A, B, C, D, E, right? That's the alphabet. But when you're in the car, phone, call, this, that, you're paying attention to the road. So it's like A, B, C, M, N, N, O, P. So it's like doing a recipe. Here's the problem with success, right? Here's how to bake a cake. Here's the 7 things you need to do. And people, the left-brainers, especially the Germans, they're here like, they will follow every step, right? But the Americans or right-brainers are like, step 1, step 2, I don't really like step 3. It's not my brand. It's not who I am. You're broke. What do you mean it's not your brand? Yeah, but I want to do this. Like I experiment. And then when the cake doesn't end up being what it is, they're like, it's a scam. Right? There's a process to business. There's a scaling process. So when I run and work out, what I'll listen to is more like content that's not really retainable. And then I'll actually sit down in a focused environment, quiet, no phones, no thing. And because I suffer from ADD, I can do about 15 minutes. And I listen in on second speed, the highest amount. Because I want to push myself. So if you don't retain it, it just doesn't matter. Number 3, practice. I'm one of the few people in the world who practices business. I practice evaluating businesses. I practice real estate. I practice speaking. I'm the highest grossing platform speaker in the world from the stage. Would you think I just show up and I wing it? I'll literally have every slide on my wall, and every slide means something. Even today, everything you saw here today, I practiced it with a process that I did here. See, it's the equivalent of this of success, right? If we're a sports team and you didn't practice all week and you showed up on Sunday for football and you're like, you lose, and then at the end you're like, well, we lost, but we started bad, but had we started well, and that's the story of your life. Why do we practice? Execution. So that whatever you're doing becomes a natural act to you. For me, speaking is very natural. There's a lot of deal making is very natural. I don't need to think. Coming up with ideas is very natural. And I'm going to show you that, how to do that throughout this conference. And so, same thing with selling. The most important skill that you can master and dominate is sell. Great. You can build a relationship here with a billionaire. Well, let's see if he does business with you. Right? We can build relationships here, but can you sell them to do business with you? If you can't sell, you can't succeed. I role play sales. We do mega sales where I role play with people and they'll demonstrate the sales process there. So you have to practice that. Practice marketing. I practice coming up with headlines every day for 6 months. Any business, even businesses that are not mine. So that's step 3. Step number 4, preparation. Right? You'll see every video that you saw here today was like scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, right? Everything was kind of prepared. Everything is thought out of, choreographed, about where Paulie was going to be. He had no idea. Everything, because you have to be prepared. Even when I get in with the billionaires we had lunch with in New York, the 2 of them, I was mentally prepared to have everything I was going to ask. Now, for you may not in your brain, but I'll write it down on a piece of paper, a yellow legal pad, and I'll be prepared. But it needs to sound like it's not an interview. It needs to sound natural, complimentary, right? Like, for example, I'm prepared. I gave Pietro the opportunity to go meet a billionaire owner of the Milwaukee Bucks on his private plane, show up at the game, get a tour of the stadium, right? Go meet the Greek freak in the locker room, and then fly back. There's also Gary Kahn, head of Goldman Sachs, who was also in the White House, was also on the plane. Okay? Did he think to have something signed for me? Mm-mm. Yesterday, he was running late. And while I was there, I said to Gary, right, let's go get something from the New York Giants and let's have it signed. It's the owner of the New York Giants. And then I also thought, Francie's a huge Giant fan, so I need to make sure that she gets it. Then it was like, I have 3 footballs that are very nice championship footballs, and they only had 3. So then I have to get a hat. So then I went to Gary. It's like, do you want the ball or the hat? He picked a hat, and I was willing to have Francie have a ball, he have a ball, and I was going to take the hat. I wanted the ball. That's the difference between me and everybody else. Because when I came out yesterday, I came in, I landed before I had another meeting by another company. I had Francie come down, I gave her the football, which then she posted on Instagram, because I knew it would make her happy. Right? I gave him the football, right, as a reminder of what I do and what he doesn't do for me. He can't even send us a video for Paulie. Right? But I'm lucky. He's a friend. I've coached him for 10 years. We now are business partners and things. But everybody else, I guarantee you, if I wasn't his friend, it was just kind of natural, I probably never have talked to him again. Because you ain't going on a private plane unless I say you go on a private plane because they're trying to make me happy. You understand? Same thing on the founders. They come because of me. We had Stedman. They come because of me. Because they want to make me happy. And the way you make me happy is to make you happy. That's my level of happiness. Whatever is mine is yours. Look at all the celebrities you guys are going to take pictures with. We've had a lot of celebrities that said only 50 pictures. I said, nope. And then we had to not have them. They're like, you and 50 of your top people. This is all my top people. How can I say 50 of you not take pictures? It sucked. They were big names, very big A-listers, but it's not fair. If you got all access, you get all pictures, not JT gets different pictures. We have to fight that a lot because of COVID, obviously. That's how your DNA works. So you got to be prepared. Little details matter in relation. It's not what you say, it's how you make people feel. Number 5, visualize the process. I got up this morning at 3 o'clock and I was visualizing. This whole time, I'm visualizing how's it going, what we're going to do, will Paulie cry or not? If Paulie cried, I'd do things. And by the way, I came up to Paul as soon as he started crying. I'm like, take a video. We're going to extort him. And by the way, just the visualization, if you take a look at Paulie's wife's video, right, it was pretty emotional, right? It's hard not to hold back tears. And I wanted to end the video with Paulie and I singing, but it would be weird transition-wise to have that, his wife say that, and then him and I going that. So I reversed the role. Every detail matters. That's what greatness is. This mega success this year is not so much about the celebrities. It's about having the greatest people ever at what they do, ever, in the world. Because that's what greatness is all about. So we got to visualize the process. Then you got to master it. How do you master it? You learn it over and over and over again. You don't read my book one time, you read it 3 times. Here's how I master things. The first time I read something or listen to something, I do not take notes. I just consume it. I just consume it. The second time I take notes. The third time, this is where the millions are. It's called connective learning. Because now I'm familiar with the content. I kind of know what's coming next. So every time I read something, I'm like, I'm going to apply it to this, my business, this. I start connecting the dots. Gary, I'm right here. You're looking at me there, but you're in the second row. That better? I mean, it's distracting. We got to fix that, huh? We're going to fix that at the break, right? Oh, yeah. Yeah, you know, you can't give it to him. You have to have your own. Master. Now, if you do this 25 times with 25 different books, courses, whatever you read, after 25 times, I do it naturally. I could look at anything and get these ideas. It triggers me. Boom, do this fast. You don't want to have my mind, but I've done it 25 times. It's a natural act now. I could look at anything, read anything, listen to anything, and connect the dots. Here's what success is. 1, 2, 3, 4 dots. Your job is to connect the dots. No one is going to connect the dots for your business. So you have to master it. And then you have to obsess. To me, the definition of obsession is this. How can I make this better, faster, and more efficient? But also, how can I obsess? How can I be number one? How do I make sure this event is better than any other mega success, or else it's not worth it? And you're going to see it's going to be like that. The next event, the next product, the next service, if it's not better, if the iPhone is not better than the next one, then the sales don't go anywhere. So there always has to be that pressure for you to make it better, faster, more efficient, to obsess. How can I be number one? Now, you may not be number one because you're competing against people that are much bigger, much more established. But here's the thing. Did you give me a number one effort? Did you go all in and say, you know what? I put it all on there. And many of you don't track your effort. Because if you have a slow week, you're like, great. Right? It's at the start of the week, but then you ended strong. You thought it was a great week. If you had a good Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but a horrible Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you're like, oh, what a shitty week. Because you don't measure your success. You wing it. You start measuring that. But that's obsessing on the details. Every detail of this event is scheduled out. And then last step, you got to dominate. You got to dominate. You got to dominate. And the way you dominate is who you spend time with is who you become. And you need to ask yourself this big fundamental questions for everybody. What do I have that my competition doesn't have? I've got the billionaires. I've got the celebrity. I've got the platform, all of which you can have the exact same thing. I will tell you what, you pay our bill for this event, and I will sit there gladly. It's much cheaper. Yeah. And the last one is the biggest enemy to success. Is procrastination, excuses, laziness, lack of ambition, lack of loyalty, lack of ethics, and lack of work ethic.